Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get going. As people funnel in, I'll just accept them to the meeting and things like that, and I'll pass out the recording afterwards, so everyone can still have the recording, whether you're part of the meeting or not. Today, we're going to talk about switch tech, the switch tech core, and how it works, how it can transform an existing mechanical opening into an electrified opening. Today, the presenter that we've invited to speak to you guys is Dan Stewart. He's the business development manager for Dormakaba, and he has a really big hold on switch tech, and he's helped a lot in this product, and he is very talented and smart whenever it comes to switch tech. And so with that, I'll turn it over to him, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. You've oversold me a little bit with talented and smart, but we'll do our best to live up to those expectations as we go through today. First of all, thank you all for your time, the opportunity to share this solution with you. We're pretty excited about it here at Dormakaba with what it means for an innovation, a leap forward in the solutions that we offer to the marketplace. Pretty excited to share the journey with you a little bit, into the nuts and bolts of how it works, and then use cases as it applies to different places, different verticals in the industry. So as we go through, feel free to ask questions, feel free to interrupt, put them into the chat, whatever works for you, because the more we engage with each other, the better it'll be. If you've had the chance to watch any of the live streams that we've done that I've been privileged to host, you know how I feel about questions. I think they're awesome. It helps us all be better. So please let us know your thoughts, let us know your questions so that you can get the maximum out of this and benefit all of us on the meeting today as well. So as we see here, just a quick little video of the solution out there in the marketplace. In an installation, this is actually a residence hall at a university where this was installed, showing people interacting with it. But I'm going to take you back a little bit to start our presentation today, before it actually got onto a door, before it actually got out into the marketplace, and where we were and where we've come. So 4 years ago, we sat down and we started looking at the access control world, at the different solutions, the different products that are out in the marketplace, and the feature function that they provide to customers. So we put that onto a scale and evaluated what was in the marketplace. On the far right-hand side, our expensive, fully featured, fully function spectrum was hardwired access control, where I get instant notification, instant control, instant lockdown. All those kinds of things are available there at a price point around $3,000 to $5,000 industry standard. Absolutely necessary in the marketplace, where that is the requirement that a customer has. Step down from that, we've got wireless locks that are out in the marketplace. Different solutions provide different feature function, but the price point's right around $1,000 to $2,000 per door. Cost savings, little bit less of a feature function than what a hardwired door gives you, but that is available in the marketplace where it meets the needs for customers. And then all the way down on the left-hand side is mechanical keys and cores. Great for what they are, about 20 bucks per door, and definitely gives the ability to control, can cut a piece of metal to be able to restrict where it can go, but that's the only control that I get. I don't have the ability to restrict when. I don't have an audit that key was used. And depending upon the key way and key system, you can go to Home Depot, not even talk to anybody, put it into a machine, and $2 later, you've got a duplicate, completely compromising the security at that location. So a real challenge with mechanical keys, but definitely needed in the marketplace if that functionality is needed. So we identified a big gap that was in the market, the need for that audit, the need for time restriction, the need for being able to control doors, but able to reduce the cost associated to it, the infrastructure that needs to go in place for it, and things along those lines. So we formulated some ideas. We put them down on paper and we took them out to customers across various different verticals to ask them, number one, is there a need to fill this gap? And number two, are we on the right path in order to be able to do so? And when we talked to customers, the resounding answer to question number one was yes, there is a need to fill this gap. Yes, we want that control. Yes, we want to have it simple, easy to install, easy to deploy in our facilities. The resounding answer to question number 2 was no, you are not on the right path. And that was a gut check for us. We had to go back and swallow our pride a little bit, because we thought we had some good ideas. But when we sat down and reevaluated, we were going down a path that was common in the marketplace. It was a Me Too type solution, a way to go and do what everybody else was doing, but in a slightly different way. And the resounding opinion coming back to us from those customers was, yeah, that's not what the market needs. So we sat down, we thought about it even more, and really challenged ourselves with development and to think about it differently and what could be done in a harmonized way to make it easy to deploy for customers, to reduce that infrastructure, and to make it adaptable at a price point that is effective for what we were providing. And so we did a redesign, and we went back out. Is there still a need to fill this gap? And number 2, did we get better? So some of the same customers, some new customers, they said, yes, still a need. You got a little better than you were before, but you could still do a little bit more improvement. Awesome. Thanks for the input. Go back. We did that cycle a couple times to get to where we are today with the solution that we've marked or launched to the marketplace. So Switch Tech itself is a platform of products. The first product in that platform is the Switch Core. So based upon innovation that happened at Best Access 100 years ago, when Frank Best saw the need where the school district he was working for, a bunch of people were carrying an individual key for each individual door. He said, there's got to be a better way. So he invented the small format interchangeable core. And that's where we started our development, was around that small format interchangeable core. So as you can see in the picture there, it's got a small format interchangeable core backend. 7-pin is the size requirement for it, but no matter who makes that small format interchangeable core, they're all designed to the same standard. So whether it's a Best small format core or somebody else's, Medico or Schlage or anybody else's small format core, they're all built to the same standard. Represents roughly 80% of the locks that are out there in the commercial space. So there's a significant opportunity to go and provide more control with this solution to end users. Bringing an excellent value because we're reducing long-term costs associated to maintaining key systems and the challenges associated to lost keys, repinning cores, cycling cores, core rotations. We help to eliminate all those different things with this product line. Adaptable because we talk a lot about doors whenever we think about access control. But for everybody on this call, you know as well as I do, if you can lock it, there's a small format interchangeable core locking mechanism for it. And Switch Core can be deployed in almost any of those applications. So really bringing control to places that probably wasn't thought of as necessary or possible before. We talked about those hardwired doors, and where that's functionality is a requirement, absolutely have to deploy it. Behind those doors, what are they locking up? How are they maintaining those key systems? Do they have challenges associated to lost keys and things there? The resounding answer from presentations has been yes. And so it now extends the control into a facility, onto desk drawers, onto cabinets, onto storage gates with padlocks on them inside a building. So all kinds of different locations, applications that can be used for this solution that previously weren't thought of or possible to do. And secure because we're able to deliver this without any infrastructure, but also giving the customer the ability to restrict day and time, to get near real-time audits back to their access system, to do updates on the fly as far as people's access is concerned, so that they can then give and grant more access throughout their facility or change it as they need to. So a lot of power in a very small form factor. Really excited about this and what it does in this form factor, but also what it means for the future. And we can talk about roadmap as it's associated in near and far term plans that we have for the product line. So as we talk about it, it's important to understand how it works. We'll walk through the presentation and talk about the different things as to how it works, but we'll also give you a live demonstration, show you the credential, show you a door actually being unlocked. So as we can see here. And if you have the opportunity to go out to YouTube and check out our channel there, we did a live stream on March 19th where we launched this product to the marketplace. And in that live stream, don't need to watch the whole thing, fast forward to minute 20. That's when we do a proof is in the pudding demonstration of taking a mechanical lock, pulling out the existing core, putting in a switch core, testing it, programming it, walking away. All of that is done by minute 25 in the presentation. So a 5-minute install, no additional infrastructure to put into the building, real quick and easy to deploy. So how are we able to do that? It's by our unique approach to utilizing devices and technology that are out there and commonplace nowadays. So we're going to walk through the authentication process, which really helps to understand how we're differentiated there, what we're doing that's a little different, and show you that there. And if you will, just one moment, my dog wants to go see everybody. I got to pause for just a second.
While we wait on Dan to come back, keep in mind, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat or let me know, and we can answer any questions that you have. But this is a super exciting product, and I can't wait to see how it all works.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I'll pause just at this point. If anybody has a question, I'll be happy to answer it at this point. All right. No questions at this point. Awesome. Let's see how it works. So real quick, it's for me to understand the technology, I need to boil it down to simple things. Because there's a lot of sophisticated encryptions and algorithms and all kinds of fun stuff that are under this hood that people way smarter than me have developed and programmed into this platform. So I took all of that they've told me and turned it into just a simple conversation so that I can understand it, and hopefully we can all benefit together from that. So on the left-hand side of your screen, that's a switch credential. On the right-hand side of the screen is a switch core. We leverage Bluetooth credentials in our system. So either a smartphone, which Apple or Android, they're available today. You can go to the App Store or Google Play and download to your phone, search for Dormakaba Switch, and you'll find our app there that you can put onto your phone free of charge. Then once you register, the administrator of a system would issue you a credential that would go onto that device. We also have a fob available. So for those customers that don't want to put an app onto their phone, or an employee who doesn't want to put their employer's app on their phone because of whatever concerns they have there, we have a fob available in those scenarios. It's a Bluetooth fob. It has the same intelligence as a mobile credential. The only difference is that fob doesn't have an antenna to the outside world. So it houses everything inside of it, functions a lot like a key in that sense, but maintains its intelligence, where it's allowed to go, when it's allowed to go, and stores the history inside that fob as well. Can sync to any mobile device to be able to get that information and updates from the cloud. So we're going to focus in on the mobile credential on a cell phone, because that's where we get the real power of this system, the real differentiator as well. So here they have, you have a look at the two different components on the left-hand side, that credential. You can see that it's super complicated, right? One button and one button only to hit. So that activate button, if you tap on that, that wakes up that credential and it starts looking for a core to talk to. So when you do that, it's in essence saying, hey, is anyone out there? Anyone at all? Anybody that I can talk to? Can I talk to anybody? At which point you need to wake up the core so that it can start to look for a credential to talk to. The cores themselves are sitting asleep, not talking to anything. In our system, the only thing that they talk to is those mobile credentials. So while it's sitting there asleep, you touch it to wake it up. The lights start glowing blue on it, which means that it's looking for something to talk to. So it says, hi there, I'm here. I'd like to talk to you. I can hear you. Let's have a conversation. At which point the credential says, well, good. Hey, somebody to talk to. That's awesome. But growing up, my parents told me not to talk to strangers. So do I know you? Am I allowed to talk to you? At this point, it's saying, hey, I'm not just going to talk to any core. I need to talk to somebody that I know. Exchanging encryption keys at this point to ensure that the credential that an end user has can only talk to cores in that end user system. Right? So the core itself says, you know what, that's awesome. I was given this letter by somebody that looked like a parent. I don't know if it's your parent, but here, does it look familiar to you? Sending over the key, the encryption key. Which point the credential opens it up and says, oh, you know what, it sure does. That's from my parents. What's your name? Let's get to know each other a little bit. The core will transfer back, in this case, the unique identifier of switch core. Super marketing right there, right? Making it super easy. So the core tells the credential who it is. The credential says, hey, nice to meet you. Let me check for something. You know what? I have a letter for you. This is where we're different. Inside the credential, we store all of the access rights for the person. So every door that they're allowed to go through and the times they're allowed to go through it, different schedules, different authentication timeframes, all of that is stored inside that credential. Uniquely encrypted so that if somebody were to hack the phone, they'd have to then hack the credential as well and then hack into each access file individually. So really securing information there. At which point, so it takes that encrypted file and sends it back to the core. The core knows who it is and what day and time it is, but that's all it knows. So as it opens up that letter, it says, oh, cool, I'm so glad you have something for me. Let me read it. At which point it opens it up and sees that it's the access rights that that credential has. It says that it's allowed in there Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, on the East Coast, it's 12:20 on a Tuesday. So I'm within that time frame, so I'm going to go ahead and let you in. At which point the lights on the core start to glow green, the knob becomes activated, and a countdown based upon how long that core will be in that state shows up on the phone. And then the core says, you know what, by the way, can you give this letter back to our parents, which is the access event. Dan Stewart went through the door at 12:20 in the afternoon, which door I went through, the status of the battery in that core, the temperature of that core, and a bunch of other stuff that we're monitoring just in case it becomes valuable in the future. It sends that in an encrypted file back to the phone that the phone doesn't even open. It just passes it through, passes it up to the cloud so that it goes down into the access system near real time for the monitoring to happen. At which point the core says, thanks, you're the best. All this work has made me tired, and it goes back to sleep. So that's the authentication process for activating. We're able to deploy these cores without any infrastructure in the building because we put the intelligence into the mobile credential. We store it all there, and then when it interacts with the core makes the decision of the access rights based upon the day and time that it is. So I'll take a pause. Whoever wants to be a brave soul and ask a question, feel free to go so.
Hey, Justin Vasquez here. I have a quick question. That whole process that you just described seemed really long and drawn out. About how much time does it take for the fob or the Bluetooth device? How long does it take to communicate and communicate back? That whole process, how long is it?
That's a great question, Justin. So let me show you. Here's our credential sitting on a mobile device that I have. Here is, I'm going to turn off my virtual background because they're the worst when it comes to holding up stuff. Apply. Welcome to my office. All right, so here is my core installed in a padlock. Again, thinking past the door, a different opportunity for use. When I touch it, you can see the blue light flashing there. All right, so if I go through the process like I did in the presentation, in the credential, it's now looking for a core to talk to. I touch the core, wake it up. The two talk to each other, and it's done. Turn it. So while it took me a while to talk through the process, the actual authentication happens a whole lot quicker. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you. So it's about 1 to 2 seconds.
Roughly about a second
Okay.
for it to go through, search for it, and then the two authenticate. And then I can turn it just like I would a key to open it.
That's extremely powerful. So some of the questions that might be out there, some of the things that I've heard and we talked about yesterday was, is it available in antimicrobial, silver ion coating or anything like that?
Yep. So we offer throughout the product line, we offer different finishes available. As you're looking at the core, whoops, let me move this so you can look at the core again. As you're looking at the core, the silver part to the left of the blue lights, that's our cap. We offer that in 11 different finishes. Included in that is 626 antimicrobial, so that we can support those types of scenarios out there. And then the other aspect is the knob where you see this fin. So the back end piece of it, we offer that in two finishes. So the silver as you see here, or we offer it in black as well. So the two can be mated together in order to make the most attractive solution possible on an install based upon the finish of the lock set that it might be going into. So all of that is absolutely available in the product line to make it what a customer would need it to be aesthetically. When we speak of aesthetics too, we've submitted Switch Tech to several different organizations and awards type things that are globally recognized. One of those is Red Dot, who provides annual awards based upon innovation in design and aesthetics and things like that. So we submitted Switch Tech for that, and we actually won the Red Dot Award for an access control product this year. So globally recognized from an aesthetic standpoint as far as what it looks like, how it functions, and so forth. We've also won SIA's Access Control Product of the Year for hardware and peripherals. So the power that we're able to bring to extend access control into a facility, all in a tight little package. And we'll talk about architecture of a system here in a little bit. But I want to make sure that we take another little pause and see if there's any other questions out there.
I have a question.
Shoot.
This is Kevin Evergreen. Is it programmable, or does it have the capability to stay unlocked for an extended period?
That's an awesome question, Kevin. Thanks for asking it. So we do not change the function of the mechanical lock that it goes into. So if you put it into a storeroom function lock, there's no way to leave that door unlocked. If you put it into a classroom function lock, though, you absolutely can mechanically leave that door unlocked. It's just a matter of what the key could do previously in it, the switch core can do. So turn it one way, leave that lever unlocked, anybody can come through, grant access again, turn it the other way, you've secured that door back up again. So we don't change those mechanics to allow for those functions to happen.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Great question. Anyone else? So along with what we just talked about, not changing the mechanics of it, I want to just quickly discuss the difference between security and access control. Switch core is an access control device. And why do we make that differentiation? Security, to a lot of people, is instant control, instant notification, instant updates. The only way to accomplish that, or instant notification to a monitoring center, the only way to accomplish that is with hardwired devices. So that's not what switch core is. Switch is access control is being able to get people through doors at the times that I want them and having an audit of that activity. So switch core is an access control device because that's what we're providing in a very small, easy to deploy package. So as we jump back into the presentation a little bit, here's the structure of the system. Today, we're integrated into the Linnell and Genetec access control platforms, represented here by that laptop in the upper right-hand corner. We are expanding out the software platforms that we're integrated into. And also, if you saw our most recent article in the Locksmith Ledger, you'll note that we are developing an app, a standalone app-driven version for the Switch Tech platform, so that for your smaller customers that have a need for maybe 5 cores 10 cores, 15 cores, but don't want to have a full access control system, they can have an app-driven version so that they can utilize it. We even see it as an opportunity with these large enterprise type customers as well, where they can take it, evaluate it, confirm that it functions for them before making an investment and going through their procurement processes and challenges. Quick, easy to deploy, easy to set up at a price point that they don't have to go get approval for it. They can put it on their company credit card. So that's coming in the near future. We're in the development phase and actively going out and getting voice of customer around our screens and functionality, feature requests, and how they needed to operate in the marketplace. So excited to bring that in the near future to the market. But as it's structured here today, we have what we call the switch bridge. That's what's facilitating and making it easy for us to integrate into other access platforms. This is an on-premises device, so put it into a data closet somewhere. It's got 2 Ethernet ports on it. Why 2 Ethernet ports? Because there are some security and IT professionals that are concerned still about giving access to the cloud, particularly when it needs to be on a security VLAN or things like that. So one Ethernet port can point into the customer's VLAN. The second Ethernet port can point out to our cloud. That provides an air gap, a very easy thing for IT people to maintain and understand how to control the movement of data in their facilities. Then sitting out there in the cloud, we've got our switch deck, which is where we link badge IDs, the physical card that people carry, to a 16-digit alphanumeric license token that gets installed either in their mobile device or on that fob. And then that cloud talks to those mobile devices, which those mobile devices then talk to cores. They're obviously installed into some kind of lock, and that's how the system talks with each other. So very key to note on here is the arrows. The arrows indicate what talks to what. So a core obviously interacts with the lock because it's installed in it. The core talks to the mobile device that communicates to it. That mobile device talks up to the cloud. That cloud talks to the bridge and then ultimately into the software platform. So why do I stress that? This credential is on my mobile device sitting here. This core is in my hands, obviously. I'm located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The two are talking to each other here, allowing me access into this padlock. The bridge itself is located in Indianapolis, Indiana, roughly a 5.5, 6-hour drive from here, 348 miles, I believe. So there is no distance requirement for bridge to credential or bridge to core, meaning that a customer can put that into an IT closet anywhere on their network, as long as it can talk to the access software, and then deploy cores wherever they want to, without any infrastructure in the buildings, without any need to pull any wires. Simply count the number of small format interchangeable cores you're replacing and deploy the cores. Really powerful when you think about the ability to deploy that. A couple other things that make it powerful. So we talked about antimicrobial and the world in which we live in today, right? And the fear of touching things. As you can see, this is some settings on my credential. The top one here is enable background mode. What is that and why is it a good thing for customers? So you'll be able to see on the screen there, I'm not going to touch that activate button, right? So imagine, if you will, just got a Twilight Zone reference in my head there. Sorry about the chuckle. But imagine, if you will, leaving my phone into my pocket. As you can see, a green box popped up there on the bottom saying that access was granted. So I'm not actually going to physically interact with the credential. I'm just going to touch the core. The two talk to each other. You can see the pop-up that access was granted, and I've been granted access. What does that do for you? Leave my phone in my pocket. If I'm carrying stuff, I don't have to dig around, grab my phone, open it up, get the application out, and get granted access. I can facilitate a very easy access. Also, I don't have to take the germs of things that I'm touching and get them on my phone. I can use hand sanitizer. I can wash my hands before I pull my phone out and interact with it. So helps to facilitate that contactless environment that we get to live in, and that is very exciting today. What else are we able to do? I just like to highlight a few couple things, and this one I think is amazing for what we're able to do. So the locks, the cores themselves operate in 3 different methods. Credential only, which you have seen. That's just simply activate and then work with the core. Credential and PIN, meaning that it's what I have and what I know to be able to get into the door. And then locked, nobody but administrators can get in. So if I need to quarantine off an area, or excuse me, quarantine's a bad word. If I need to segment off an area because I'm doing an investigation or something like that, and I don't want anybody else but security and admin to be able to get in, I could put a core into locked. Nobody can get into that door except for those people. So really nice, easy way to do it. And as you can see, I can set it for different periods of time or indefinitely. This does require a visit to the door, but again, it's that special circumstance. We do support time schedules for these. So if Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m., you want it to be credential only, and then after hours, it's credential and PIN, absolutely supported. We can do that. So I just want to show you one real quick thing that we support with this credential and PIN. I'm going to put my core into that state right now. So for the next 10 minutes, I have to enter both. Now, what we also support, and this is really fun. So I'm going to wake my credential up, have it look for a core. Now, if you watch the screen there, it's going to prompt me for something. My device supports Face ID, but whatever biometric your device supports is what it would prompt for there. So we can use the biometric credential on the device as a supplement or a different way to enter that PIN number. What does that mean? That means for this low price point, without any infrastructure, with a 5-minute install time, we have brought biometric access control to virtually any small format interchangeable core locking device. That is a significant opportunity when we think about healthcare and the insurance around HIPAA requirements and insured ID and making sure that the right person is getting through the right door at the right time. Because not only is it what I have, it's who I am and my biometrics. So really significant opportunity and being able to support that. So I'll take a pause there again and ask if there are any questions.
We have a question that came in from Martin Shirley, and it's a great question. Being that you have a small cap that covers the portion of switch, how easily is it pried off? How easily is it able to be vandalized and the core taken off of the lock set, enabling someone to break into it?
It's a great question, and one of the cool things that we've designed into this solution. So as you looked at those pictures and as you look at this core that I have here, there are no screws, there are no visible pry points, no visible connection mechanisms for it, right? So that's number one deterrent. I can't see anything to go do. This is our cap removal tool. It's a magnet, slides over the cap and pops it off. All right, so inside here, there's a retaining spring that magnetically goes like this, so that I'm able to get it off and change the battery. Okay? So number one, that helps to reduce vandalism. Number two, what do I get if I get this cap off in some way? I get access to battery terminals. We've gone through extensive electric shock discharge testing so that if I get it and I send a voltage in there, all I'm doing is breaking the core. I'm not actually overriding it in any way. Next, inside there, you see this little hole up at the top. That's where I can insert my super proprietary 1/16 inch Allen key in order to be able to turn the locking lug. But just because I got this cap off doesn't mean I'm able to turn that. In fact, it absolutely means you cannot, because we put that into the app so that only those with special privileges are able to do it. And shown here, we call it control mode engage. Control mode engage is as if I'm putting in a control key. That puts it into a state where I can rotate that locking lug, pull it out, and move it to a different location. And then once I'm done and it's installed, I can do control mode disengage, so that now nobody can do it until it comes and gets put back into that state. So all of that helps against, or that restricts the ability to get in there. After that, the thing's made of stainless steel, hardened stainless steel. So right here in the core is a hardened stainless steel plate, so that if I was trying to compromise it in some way, number one, I need a very hard drill bit, one of those cobalt ones or something like that. And it's going to make a ton of noise as I'm interacting with it. So hopefully at some point somebody says, what the heck are you doing? Number two, or another one, we've taken it through BHMA cylindrical lock testing, cylindrical lock impact testing, because that's our worst case, because it's sitting out 3 inches from the door, giving the most leverage points. And we drop the 45-pound hammer on it. We throw the 35-pound bullet at it. And yes, this is plastic, and yes, that can break. But again, you're not compromising the security of the door. You are simply making it so you got to drill it out by doing that. So we've done a lot to help ensure it. By the way, it meets those standards of grade 1 impact testing. In fact, it did better than the cylindrical lock it was in. So we had to take it and put it into a steel mortise cylinder. And then we were dropping it from 4 feet, hitting it, and we threw the bullet at it 20 times. And those kinds of things to ensure that it's strong and can handle the challenges that it's going to face out there. So we did a lot of testing on that. There's a YouTube video about that strength testing. You can go watch that if you'd like as well. So a lot of words there for an answer that say we've done a lot to make them vandal resistant, Martin. Any other questions? A shy bunch.
So this is Justin again.
Hey, Justin.
So if someone is interacting with the lock set every day, 3 to 5 times a day, how much longevity does that battery have, and what type of battery is in there that has to be replaced?
Great question. Okay. So every battery operated product, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's wireless headphones like I'm wearing right now, or electric locks, are dependent upon usage for how long the battery is going to last. A couple tools that are available for you. Justin threw into the chat timeforaswitch.com. In the upper right-hand corner of that website, there's a tools section. In there, we've got a battery calculator and a return on investment calculator. So feel free to go look at those and see what kind of return on investment customers can expect, and then battery life as well. So 10 to 15 uses a day. We're confident in saying 2 years worth of battery life out of a CR2477 battery, low coin cell battery. Similar to what you would find in the remote key thing for your car, but probably twice as thick. These are readily available at any battery store. I bought this one on Amazon for $2. Along with that, in the cloud, we're getting that battery information reported back with every access event or every event that happens at the core. So it's constantly reporting back, and we have the ability through the cloud to do text or email notifications on low battery alerts, or battery not installed, battery dead. Those kinds of things are able to report back through the cloud, and then give that near real-time notification so that proactively a customer can go out and replace their batteries if necessary. Or depending upon the service provider that's working with them, they can get that notification and call up the customer as part of their service agreement and say, hey, we got notification that doors 3, 5, and 6 need to have batteries replaced. We're rolling a truck tomorrow morning to take care of that for you. Gives that stickiness, more engagement with that service provider, giving them more that they can offer to better care for customers. Sounds like somebody might have a question. Nope. All right.
Okay. I'll ask one more then, Dan.
Do it.
If a person's access control system were to go down, are you still able to access that lock set until while the access control system is waiting to go back up?
Yep. Excellent question. So the devices themselves are dumb terminals. They sit there, they know who and what time it is. Intelligence is stored in the mobile credential. So it's not dependent upon that access system at all. So network's down, power's out, link to cloud is gone. All that intelligence stays as it's last configured in the devices, so people can continue to use their systems to be able to get that activity going. So question came in from Martin, and it's a great one. How are events from the fob reported back? All right, so here's my core. Here's my fob. I use the two together, and this one doesn't have access to it. Yeah, so that red flash means denied access, but that's okay. Here's how fobs are synchronized back. At the bottom of the credential, you can see fobs. It's the third icon over. Right, so any fobs that I have configured from this device are up to date and are functional and don't need to be updated. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see that sync. If I tap that, I press and hold my fob button for 3 seconds. The two talk to each other, and now it's just using my device as a communication mechanism. That is my antenna. That's how the events that are on the fob are transferred up to the cloud, and any new updates that need to be made to it are transferred down. So what's nice about that, if you think about an organization, manager gets all the configurations onto their mobile device. They can then program up fobs, hand them out to their employees, and then they can come back to that manager and synchronize them. If that manager is not available, they can go to next in command, or any one of their associates that has or is using a mobile device, it can synchronize through it. It's just using the mobile device as an antenna to get to the cloud. Hopefully that answers your question, Martin. And I just updated my fob and got access granted.
Hey, Dan, what's the encryption level between the mobile device and the core?
That's an in-depth question there, Wayman. That's a propeller head pocket protector type question, but I'll do my best to answer it. So we've got multiple different layers, right? So BLE version 4 and newer does AES 128-bit encryption for anything that goes across the air. So that's done. Inside the mobile credential and inside the core, we use the power of Logic and their secure element so that only Logic credentials can talk to Logic devices. So because that's in the background, only switch credentials can talk to switch cores. If there is an attack towards that secure element, it shuts down and erases itself so that nothing can be compromised inside of it. So that provides them that secure and avoiding man-in-the-middle type attacks on the core in order to ensure integrity. Hopefully that answers your question as simply as I possibly can. Martin said, if teachers don't want to use their phone, their personal phone, they can use a fob. Simple question, or simple answer to a question there. Definitely understand. In the world that we live in of more bring your own device to work, that's becoming less and less and less of a concern because everybody's using their phones to do absolutely everything. So it's becoming less of a concern, but recognizing that it's still out there, which is why we developed the fob to be able to provide a solution that they can use for access. Then it's up to the school or the end user to determine what kind of standard mechanism to be able to do that. Now, to answer your follow-up question of how does it get to the cloud, showed that sync process through the interaction with the credential over here. That could be anywhere in a facility. That could be an iPad hanging on a wall. So school district could say every week you have to come back, and they put in the activate and deactivate date so that after a week it forces them to come back and update their credential so that they can ensure that it's got all the activity off of it, but also all the updates to ensure security. We've got different layers of approach to access control in this to ensure the integrity of only the right people are getting through. And one of those includes something called perimeter check-in. We'll be launching here soon a reader add-on, which will tie on to an existing access control reader where they may be using cards already today that will do a check-in bit. So I have to pass by the perimeter of the building before my fob works on the inside of the building. That enforces that because that hardwired door location gets that instant control, instant notification. If they're denied access at the perimeter, their fob never works on the inside of the building. Helps to ensure that integrity, that perimeter check-in to ensure that only the active credentials or people who are allowed to use the devices on the inside of the building can use the devices on the inside of the building. So just to review, the fobs, again, any device, here we've got the fob thing there. We hit sync, press and hold the fob button for 3 seconds. It pairs to whatever credential or whatever mobile device we're doing and passes his information up to the cloud. Just that easy. And at the same time, it pulled down any updates that I needed. Hopefully that takes care of that question for you, Martin. If not, feel free to ask some more. Any other questions? Awesome. So just in summary, just a real quick overview. I mean, it's a low cost, high value solution. Our targeted MSRP on this device is in the neighborhood of $320. So really easy to deploy it in a lot of different locations. Again, utilize that ROI calculator to compare a mechanical key system to a switch core and how quick and easy a customer can get that return on investment. In addition, it takes the the expected lifespan of a key system, industry average at 10 years, customer can put in whatever they want, and takes that savings and puts it into a big bucket at the end to show them how much they saved by deploying switch core after that return on investment. So if it takes 1.5 years to get a return on investment, that remaining 8.5 years is money in the bank so that they can utilize it. We had one customer that we presented it to that was doing 750 lost keys a year, replacements for them. And so we calculated out with them and what that meant as far as time. And it turned out that by deploying switch core, we could give them 12 hours back into their work week. 12 hours is pretty significant. A whole 1.5 days of your work week can come back and be able to be utilized at different things at your site. So really, really brings high value to a customer. Quick install, takes 5 minutes. I talk through that entire process if you watch the video. So feel free to watch it. It can be done a whole lot quicker than that 5 minutes. And I type on a keyboard for a living, so no real advanced knowledge needed in order to be able to deploy it. Versatile because it can go into almost anything that a small format interchangeable core can. Scalable because no infrastructure. Count number of doors and deploy it without having to worry about signals, wireless signals, anything like that. Easy maintenance because I can manage it from a computer, get active notifications when batteries are going down, and be deployed wherever I needed to. Saves time. We talked about that 750 key replacements a year. Tamper resistant, we went over that and how we don't have any exposed pry points or screws or active things that people can engage with. And then we can reduce risk because it's easier to control temporary access, assign limited access, expand somebody out for a day and then bring it back down to give that control, reduce my risk of giving out keys, all those kinds of things that are typical out there. So really, again, bringing back that high value that we're bringing at a price point that is below other solutions in the marketplace, that is extremely cost competitive, that is brings a lot of feature function to a customer in a small package that can be easily deployed. So I'll pause again. We got 6 minutes left in our training Tuesday. So any other questions that I can answer for you? Going once. My Mr. Rogers mug. I thought you'd like that, Justin. That's why I used it today.
Oh, I do love it. I'm sad that you're not changing shirts for us, but I am happy that you brought a presentation that is both insightful and also it helps everyone understand what switch tech is and how it can help them. We just got a question there from Tina. Has anyone complained that it may stick out too far?
Yeah, there haven't been any complaints about that, Tina. There have been questions as to if it's code compliant. And so code compliance is that you can't extend past 4 inches from the surface of a door. So we are under that in our worst case scenario, which is a cylindrical lock. We're under that 4-inch requirement. So we are code compliant with it. Their customers have expressed concern over the fact that it is sticking out from the door, but use case and as they've used it have experienced that it doesn't cause any challenge. Gives them enough surface area to be able to interact with it and to ensure that they can get access to their doors. Great question, Tina. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, and if I could even add just a little bit to that. Where I've actually seen it deployed, it's just a matter of getting used to the core in the door, and customers who do use it, once they've gotten accustomed to seeing that core in the door, it's just second nature at that point.
Thank you, Wayman. Justin, is there a way I can get a sample? We'll work with Justin there, Tina, to take care of that. We've got sample kits in process of being built for it. It's going to be a nice little case about the size of an iPad, come with a nice branded padlock in it, a core, a battery tool, a fob, everything that you'll need to make it work. I am waiting to get mine and to be able to do an unboxing type video so that you'll have something that when you get it, you know what to do with it as well. So we got all that working in the background for you. Justin, can you please tell me about Martin Shirley's name?
I mean, there's not much to say about Shirley's name other than the fact that I was calling him Shirley Martin when talking about the Switch Tech class instead of Martin Shirley. So it was a quick learning experience for me, and it's a mistake that I will not repeat again.
Well, you're a better man than me, Justin, because had I started that way, it would be Shirley Martin forever, because that's just what happens in my head. It gets stuck there and doesn't come out. Which is probably why I think about Davis Matthew instead of Matthew Davis, since he's on the phone.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I really appreciate everyone coming into the presentation, sticking around for Dan, and being a part of the embarrassment at the very end with me and Shirley. I appreciate it, and thank y'all for joining to Training Tuesdays. If you want, go to Switch Tech, learn about it. Go to our YouTube channels. Both Dormicava has one, JL Jones has one. If you have any questions at all, reach out to me. I'm here to help. We're here to get samples. We're here to help everyone learn and help push this product into the market.
Justin, thank you very much for inviting me. Appreciate everybody's time. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys.